Good evening, and welcome to the first newscast of the spring 2015 semester. I'm Taylor Buffington.
And I'm Sierra Smith. And in our top story, a professor at Edinboro University has been aiding police on an investigation that is a small town raising questions. ETV reporter Leslie Schaefer has more on this story.
For a case that has economy police in Beaver County puzzled. The case was called to Vitali's attention after a pedestrian discovered an embalmed woman's head in the wooded area off Mason Road in Beaver County.
I got an email one day from the coroner's Erie County, and it's Lyle Cook, and he said they're looking for an artist. They found an embalmed head down in Beaver County.
I just want a nice
And the problem is, of course, that it's a little bit disfigured, and it's the kind of thing you wouldn't want to put on the news.
Police asked Vitali to reconstruct a three-dimensional model of the head in hopes that she would be recognized by residents in the area.
We didn't have a skull, so we presented a new set of issues.
After spending a vast amount of time with the head, Vitali began to pinpoint the areas of tissue depth and where the woman's features laid on her face.
I took a lot of measurements, I did a lot of observation, I did a lot of palpating too to feel like where her eye orbits were, where the nasal bone actually ended on her nose, things like that.
Since the case was deemed urgent, Vitali had a 24-hour turnaround to draw a sketch that is seen here of what the woman would have looked like.
A new forensic course will be launched in February. ETV will bring you the latest updates as long as they come.
A former Edinboro student was arraigned on first-degree murder after being arrested for alleged fatal shooting of Tobiah J. Johnson back in November. 21-year-old Trey Gunter was formally arraigned in front of a court judge last Wednesday in Erie County Court. Assistant District Attorney Roger Bauer says that the prosecution intends to pursue a first-degree murder conviction, which is punishable by life in prison with no chance of parole. No date has been set for Gunter's trial.
Last Thursday night, Edinboro's Journalism and Public Relations Department hosted the preview of a new PBS series. Earth, A New Wild is a 5-part series that takes place in various locations around the world and gives the viewer a closer look and a personal insight to nature and its wildlife. Dr. Cynthia Rubar, an Edinboro professor in the biology department, gave a brief speech after the preview. She shared her intentions of what the audience could benefit from the screening.
Dr. Sanjayan has taken the opportunity to look and talk to experts in the field, people who are looking outside the box for solutions as to how we can have a more sustainable environment, including humans in that. Oftentimes we don't include humans, and we need to do that. People, they're a very important part of it, and I think he did a great job in showing us clips that allow us to think outside the box, to think of new solutions.
Earth, the New Wild will air on Wednesday, February 14th on WQLN TV channel 54.1.
The English department received a new name over the winter break. The Department of English and Philosophy previously held a place with theater, but Dr. Mary Carden, chairperson for the Department of English and Philosophy, says, quote, "With this move, only English and philosophy remained in our department, and the name English and Liberal Studies seemed to suggest that philosophy is liberal studies, which is both confusing and incorrect." Carden also says that the name change will not affect the curriculum.
Along with the new English department, the music department has become a music and theater department. Dr. Patrick Jones, the chair department, expressed his excitement for this new addition. The change will give students within the department many opportunities.
Coming up, we hear about the new Girl Scout cookies and how campus employees stood next to Channing Tatum and Steve Carell.
Led to some of the worst human rights abuses.
More than 200,000 people have been killed. 2.5 million have been displaced.
Families torn apart.
Please, take a stand with us.
Let the people of Darfur know they are not alone.
Join us. Join us. Join us at aidstillrequired.org.
And do something for Darfur.
Together, we have the power to change the world. What do you stand for?
Look at me, hey!
Raymond, look at mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
The Girl Scout Cookie Program has 2 new cookies to offer throughout this cookie season. Tracy Geibel has more on the story.
Market. Sale began on January 9th as consumers looked for their favorite cookies, like Thin Mints and Tagalongs. But during this cookie season, the Girl Scouts will offer 2 new options: the Rah Rah Raisins and the Toffee-tastic Girl Scout cookies. Girl Scout PR manager Lisa Shade at Edinboro's office spoke about these options and how they relate to current food trends.
Rah Rah Raisins is actually an oatmeal raisin cookie with a bit of a modern twist. It has Greek yogurt chunks in it, and the girls are just raving about it. And you know, Greek yogurt is a food trend. Consumers really look for that taste.
The Toffee-tastic is a gluten-free option for customers.
We are also offering Toffee-tastic, which is a gluten-free butter cookie with toffee chips. And we're really excited to be able to offer a gluten-free cookie this season, not only for people who have celiac or that allergy to gluten, but also people who are just choosing to be gluten-free.
Shade emphasized that the program is about more than just cookies. The program is now offering cookie sales online. This, however, doesn't replace door-to-door sales or booth sales.
Oh my God. Digital cookie is an online option. However, like door-to-door sales and with the initial order taking, you still need to know a Girl Scout to be able to access ordering cookies online.
The initial order taking phase is going on right now, but booth sales will last from February 27th to March 22nd. The program encourages Edinboro students to become involved in the Girl Scout program as volunteers.
The movie Foxcatcher was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Picture. Edinboro's Director of Athletics, Bruce Baumgartner, helped make that possible.
Bruce Baumgartner befriended and competed with and against Mark and Dave Schultz, the center of John DuPont's Foxcatcher Wrestling Club, making him the man to authenticate the major motion picture.
I actually brought down, I think it was about 40 items of my, clothes that I had in that era, and, they reproduced a lot of them. I think Channing Tatum actually wore one of my exact pieces in the movie.
In addition to donating clothing, the 4-time Olympic medalist also worked with the actors on set.
I talked quite a bit to Mark Ruffalo and Channing Tatum, and mostly to Bennett Miller about what the mannerisms were like and the timeline of the story and so forth from my perspective.
Baumgartner also got some on-camera time as well.
And then we went down, and the first scene that I was on, that we shot, was actually the second scene in the movie. We spent literally close to 8 hours in front of the camera with Steve Carell, Mark Ruffalo, and a couple of the other actors, and then 2 or 3 fill-ins. I'd consider myself a fill-in. That probably was like an 8-second portion on the film. And then the second time I went down, we did spend almost all day down there, but we were waiting for some other sequences of shots, and then we spent about 3 hours in front of the camera for the first time I was in the movie, which was, again, 8 seconds or so, standing up, nodding my head, maybe saying, goodbye.
Tyler Trumbauer, ETV.
Next, we have a global review of attacks in France and how a teenage couple became Bonnie and Clyde. Stay tuned.
Listen, I know you're upset, but it was just one date. And dating's like the stock market. There's ups and downs and ups. So always buy low.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
You're on your way to meet up with friends, but you can't seem to get anywhere quickly. You don't want your friends to be annoyed, so you text. You're on your way. Five seconds is the average time your eyes are off the road while texting while driving. Make sure you get where you're going.
Danse, balance la cadence, on devient tes hanches au bal du dimanche. Danse, que la fête commence, dans ma belle robe blanche, je suis ton chou, ton
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
I'm Drew Patrick, and this is your Global News Update. On January 7th, two masked gunmen dressed in black attacked the satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo in Paris, France. The two men, Sharif and Saeed Kaichi, made their way up to the second floor and opened fire, killing 11 people and injuring 11 others during their attack. They then killed a French national police officer shortly after. The gunmen identified themselves as belonging to Al-Qaeda's branch in Yemen. In the days following, a massive manhunt led to the discovery on January 9th of the suspects, who exchanged fire with the police. The brothers took hostages at a synod company in Delmartine El Goye and were gunned down when they emerged firing from the building. In response to the tragedy on the 11th of January, approximately 2 million people, including more than 40 world leaders, met in Paris for a rally of national unity, and 3.7 million people joined demonstrations across France. Tom Wolfe was sworn into office Tuesday, January 20th, as the 47th governor of Pennsylvania, telling a crowd of dignitaries and citizens at the state capitol that he will devote his administration to goals of jobs that pay, schools that teach, and a government that works. The Democratic businessman unseated Republican Governor Tom Corbett by nearly 10 points after capitalizing on voter dissatisfaction over Corbett's handling of funding for public schools. Two teenagers from Kentucky engaged in a Bonnie and Clyde-style 2-week crime spree that spread through multiple states before being detained in Florida. Dalton Hayes, 18, and Cheyenne Phillips, 13, were extradited back to Kentucky, where they will be faced with multiple charges, including burglary, criminal trespassing, and custodial interference. That's all for Global News. After the break, we will have weather, followed by the Fighting Scots Sports Report.
danse, balance la cadence, on devient tes hanches au bal du dimanche. Danse, que la fête commence, dans ma belle robe blanche, je suis ton chou, ton
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
You're on your way to meet up with friends, but you can't seem to get anywhere quickly. You don't want your friends to be annoyed, so you text. You're on your way. Five seconds is the average time your eyes are off the road while texting while driving.
Listen, I know you're upset, but it was just one date. And dating's like the stock market. There's ups and downs and ups and so always buy low.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
Hi, I'm weather forecaster Tracy Gabel, and I have your weather update for this week. Here along the east coast of Pennsylvania, you can see lots of low pressure systems, and actually across a lot of the United States there's low pressure systems with a few exceptions. As you can see in the north, there's Illinois and Wisconsin experiencing some high pressure, and in the lower half of the United States you can see some high pressures there. Those low pressures are going to bring in some precipitation into our area. Also, here you can see a lot of precipitation going on in the northeast in through Maine. Actually, we're going to have quite a bit of precipitation in Pennsylvania, but fortunately, Edinboro won't be experiencing quite as much as those areas south of here. Here I have your 7-day forecast. You can see on Monday, we're going to have a high of 25 and a low of 14 degrees. There's going to be 60% chance of snow. And on Tuesday, you're going to see that snowy trend continue. But on Wednesday, we're going to see some sunny skies. We're still going to see some clouds in there too. Your high is going to be 23 and a low of 15. On Thursday, we're going to see that snow come back into our region. You're going to have 60% chance of snow that day. On Friday, our high is going to be 22, but a low of 1 degree. So you're going to want to make sure you bundle up on Friday before going out. On Saturday, we're going to see lots of snow, a high of 17, low of 4. Want to make sure you continue to dress warmly when you go outside. Sunday, snow again, high 16. Now let's take a look at the weather in the past. Actually, in January, our record high temperature was 73 degrees. That sounds wonderful. I wish that it was 73 degrees right now here in Edinboro. That was in January of 1950 and back in 1876. Our record low was negative 18 degrees Fahrenheit. I am happy we're not seeing temperatures like that. All right, well, that's all I have for your weather today. Next, we're going to have Tyler Trumbauer with our Scott's Sports Report.
Hey!
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
You're on your way to meet up with friends, but you can't seem to get anywhere quickly. You don't want your friends to be annoyed, so you text. You're on your way. Five seconds is the average time your eyes are off the road while texting while driving. Make sure you get where you're going.
Hello and welcome to the first Fighting Scots Sports Report of 2015. I am Tyler Trumbauer. The Edinboro wrestling team kept busy over the winter break and the squad kicked it off the right way at the PSAC Championship. The Scots were dominant, to say the least, at the tournament held at Bloomsburg University on December 6th. The squad earned 189.5 team points, a new PSAC record, to earn its 4th straight team conference title. Lockhaven finished second with 130.5 team points. Not only did the team earn a title, the 9th in the last 10 years for Borough, the Scots crowned 9 individual champions, the first 9 weight classes, setting a new PSAC record as the previous record was 7 individual champions. To top it all off, Mitchell Port, Dave Habit, and AJ Shop all earned their 4th individual conference crowns, making Edinboro the first team with 3 four-year champions in its lineup in PSAC history. The Grapplers continued on their journey, competing in a plethora of matches over the past few weeks. Borough Wrestling has been on a successful tear as of late, despite dealing with injuries. The team is most notably without AJ Shop at 133 and Austin Matthews at 157, who are both out indefinitely. However, the Scots have been rolling with wins over Clarion, Lehigh, Tennessee, Chattanooga, West Virginia, Kent State, Rider, and Bloomsburg. The 1-point margin of victory over Lehigh was by criteria. The Scots return to the mats in Fairfax, Virginia on Saturday to face George Mason University in an EWL match. To finally put a bow on the fall sports season, the cross-country teams competed at the national meet. The 2014 cross-country season for Edinboro wrapped up early last month in Louisville, Kentucky at the Division II National Championships. Both the women's and men's teams finished 15th out of 32 teams in their respective races. Casey Jones and Matt Link both earned All-American honors for their individual finishes in what was the last race of their cross-country careers. What a great season for both teams. The women's basketball team had a rough start to the season, but as the temperatures got colder, the ladies began heating up. The squad enjoyed an 8-game win streak during the winter break, including a sweep of its PSAC crossover games against Cheney, Millersville, Shippensburg, Kutztown, Mansfield, and Lock Haven. The Fighting Scots fell to nationally ranked IUP, but bounced back with wins over Clarion and Pitt Johnstown. The ladies host Seton Hill at 5:30 on Wednesday, live on ETV and online at edinboro.tv, before visiting Cal on Saturday to face the Vulcans. The men's basketball team hasn't been as successful as their female counterparts, but they have come very close. The men's basketball team suffered every loss but 2 by single digits during the winter break. However, the Scots did come out on the winning side against Millersville, Teal, Lock Haven, Clarion, and Pitt Johnstown. The Scots host Seton Hill at 7:30 at Macomb on Wednesday, which can also be seen on ETV and Edinboro.tv. The team then clashes with California University of Pennsylvania on Saturday at 3. The wheelchair basketball team went 1-3 last week at the ACSAA Bash in Kansas and returned home to host local team Bay City. These two squads clashed earlier in the season, which ended up as a win for the Scots, and they were hoping to replicate that Wednesday night. Bay City opened up the scoring here just about a minute into the first half of the contest with this pass out to the center of the top of the key, and they drained the basket. Got a nice roll here off the rim, even though they were on the road, and got them started. But after that, it was all Edinboro. Beautiful ball movement here, gets Burrow on the board, 3-2. A good pass from Derek Strickland here, gets the foul and the score to make it 10-5 Edinboro for Jim Glatch's group. Burrow went on to win 55-32. This squad returns to action on February 6th and 7th for the Burrow College Tournament in Macomb Fieldhouse. The indoor track and field season got underway over the break with Burrow's 2 home events of this season. The ladies started it off with the Mike Kowal Pentathlon on December 14th. Edinboro's Brianne Dietrich, fresh off a redshirt season last winter, earned 3,456 points to win the event. Over 1 month later, on January 17th, were the Al Hall Freedom Games. There were 3 Scott victories on the day. Allison Gibbons won the 400-meter dash, Becca Bond won the 800-meter run, and those two teamed with Dietrich and Casey Jones to finish first in the distance medley. On Saturday, the squad hit the road to Geneva, Ohio at the Spire Institute for the North Coast Indoor Open. Jones registered the best Burrow finish by winning the 3,000-meter run in 10:09:45. The Scots return to Geneva, Ohio this Saturday for the Midwest Indoor Open. The swimming teams kept busy over the break as well, competing in the Worcester Invitational and facing Shippensburg. Both squads fell to the Raiders back on January 9th, but looked to bounce back Saturday against Clarion. It was senior day on Saturday as the Scots welcomed the Golden Eagles to the Natatorium in Macomb Fieldhouse. The men's team moved to 4-2 overall by defeating Clarion 128-115. Senior Tony Romanini earned wins as a member of the 200-yard medley relay and individually in the 200-yard butterfly and the 200-yard backstroke. The ladies also were victorious 136-125, improving to 3-3 on this season. Senior Stacy Schreckengast earned 3 wins of her own, one as a member of the 200-yard medley relay, then individually in the 200-yard freestyle and 500-yard freestyle. That was the first win for the men's team in over 22 years against the Golden Eagles. The Scots dive back into the pool this Saturday against Malone University. That's all for this week. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at ETV Sports to stay up to date on all the latest Burrow athletic happenings.
My dad's one of the juiciest streets here today. Bring this sweet.
That's all the news we have for you this week. Make sure you visit our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Edinboro TV.
And you can also like our Facebook page and Twitter page at Edinboro TV for the latest updates on Edinboro news and sports. Have a great night.